Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. 7/7, 1995. When it comes to 7/7, the question was never who the killer was. Instead, it was about stopping the faceless, nameless serial killer. Even when they found the killer, he had no name, simply called John Doe. Redditor Spark wrote that the fact that this was a nobody was shocking, but it showed the banality of evil. However, the 7 twist even went one step further. After finding the killer, he had a gift for one of the detectives. It was the detective's wife's head. This caused one more murder, which completed the cycle started by John Doe and presented the second villain, as the detective couldn't control his emotions when it counted most. Psycho, 1960. Alfred Hitchcock directed some of the best thrillers of all time, and when he took it to the horror genre, he matched that brilliance. His best arguably came in 1960 when he directed Psycho. The movie set the template for future slasher movies and had more than one twist that shook up viewers. Sparks97 wrote, "I wish that I could have seen it without knowing the ending." Of course, after the first twist, when the supposed lead character died in the first half of the movie, no one expected a bigger shock in the end. When the killer was revealed, it was surprising, and when the fate of Norman Bates' mother was shown, it was a bell on the masterpiece movie. The Others, 2001. The entire purpose of The Others comes down to presenting the massive twist ending. The movie was a gothic horror movie where a woman lived in an old mansion with her 2 kids, neither of which are allowed outside due to light sensitivity. Things go bad when ghosts start hunting the house. What the twist did was change everything the viewer thought they knew about the movie. It turned out that the house was haunted, but it was the woman and her children that were the ghosts. Thinking about My Cat wrote, "It was shocking when you finally find out who the ghosts are and who killed the children. It was the mother, and that is why they remain trapped in their old home for all eternity." Alien, 2003. An insidious threat lurks abroad, the Nostromo, long before the Xenomorph arrives in Ridley Scott's Alien. While it's common to see robots in science fiction, since spaceflight is indicative of an advanced leap in technology, the inclusion of a robot spy is an unexpected layer of anxiety that further heightens the tension of isolation. Soon after the crew enters panic mode, crew member Ash is exposed as an android that was covertly programmed to retrieve the alien life form and treat all other crew members as expendable. Not only does this set up the Weyland-Yutani Corporation as a major series antagonist, but also reveals Ash's uncanny admiration for the unsympathetic Xenomorph. Over 40 years later, Redditors like UJ3434 are still wowed by Ash's decapitation. The Boy, 2016. The marketing for The Boy implies yet another possessed doll romp, which in hindsight feels like an intentional movie by the producers and filmmakers. As it turns out, this underrated horror movie has a few tricks up its sleeve, with a solid central performance, atmospheric production values, and yes, an utterly bizarre rug pull. Many Reddit users were caught off guard by the third act revelation that Bram's once believed to be a deceased child whose soul conceivably inhabited a porcelain doll isn't dead after all and has been living in the walls the entire time, manipulating the bisque figurine to make it appear haunted. Unfortunately, director William Brent Bell undercuts his moderate box office success with a truly baffling sequel, tackling on supernatural elements in an attempt to kickstart the next Annabelle-like franchise. The Visit, 2015. Twists at the end of M. Night Shyamalan movies are at this point such a given that it's trope in itself, so it's impressive that after a string of disappointing efforts from the filmmaker, a return to basics allowed him to deliver a subversion that genuinely caught many by surprise. Granted, it requires some suspension of disbelief, but The Visit, a found-footage style thriller about 2 siblings visiting their estranged grandparents, concludes with a horrifying discovery that the kids have been staying with strangers who escaped from a psychiatric hospital and are posing as grandma and grandpa. Redditor Hugh Kellen Young was calibrated to expect a supernatural twist, and to be fair, the promotional content as well as moments in the movie alluded to something potentially paranormal. With that in mind, it is plenty more unnerving that the strange behavior exhibited by the imposter couple is reflective of their mental state rather than some otherworldly force. Orphan 2009. For the first two-thirds of its runtime, Orphan plays out like a standard evil kid movie, until it doesn't. In fact, to label it an evil kid movie is inaccurate once the secret is unveiled in the final act. How may call it Sarah's underrated horror film stars actress Isabel Fuhrman, 12 years old at the time, as a severely troubled girl named Esther, who was adopted by grieving parents. Along with her innocent act, Esther is also faking her age and is eventually ousted as the 33-year-old serial killer who appears younger due to a hormonal disorder. It's a make-or-break reveal that has caused division amongst viewers, but Redditor Yuvladira points out the shocking twist is based on true events, referring to the case of Barbara Sklarova, which makes the ending much eerier in hindsight. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974. Leatherface has become such an iconic figure in horror and American pop culture as a whole that his presence in the later Texas Chainsaw Massacre installments would inevitably diminish into overkill. Notwithstanding, in 1974, screenwriter Kim Henkel and director Tobe Hooper introduced audiences to the infamous skin-wearing butcher in the most jarring way imaginable. Redditor U. Accusa points out the brutal simplicity of Leatherface's unceremonious reveal. He just pops out in the doorway and smashes the dude's head in. The scene is intentionally raw and unstylized to evoke maximum discomfort, whereas many dramatic reveals are accompanied by intense musical stings. The use of silence emphasizes the uncomfortable, diegetic sounds of a squealing pig, the bludgeoning sledgehammer, the victim's guttural seizure, and the door slamming shut.